have you been? How has 2020 been for you?
Wait, am I allowed to swear? It's been shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's absolutely fine. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's not been, it has been shit, but also I guess I've been probably more fortunate than others during it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've not had the worst that could happen.
Yes.
But I think everyone's just generally on the same plateau of like, shit.
Yeah.
And then there's different, more worse layers of shit.
Yeah.
So I'm in like that band, I think.
Was there anything that kind of surprised you with what came up, or?
Kind of no.
Okay.
Like, I wasn't surprised by, like, it's been awful, but I've not been super. It's and it has been. I guess elements of it have been shocking, but like seeing how everyone has been in the last few years anyway, leading up to things, and the attitudes of people when this started happening, you kind of just went, yeah, of course people are acting like that. Great, cool. That's yeah.
The fear.
So it's, yeah.
Initially was like, well, no, even
yeah. The fear was
but,
yeah. So we actually we didn't do it like a Dominic Cummings, but we left London
initially
before lockdown.
Oh.
So my in-laws have a farm down in Kent and like a little B&B on it, and they weren't getting any bookings on it. And my sister-in-law messaged and said, look, if you want to come down, because we've got a 2-year-old and we were in a 2-bed flat with nothing. I don't know, so many people were in that position. And initially we were like, no, we should be fine. It'll only be hopefully a couple of weeks. And then I just got this kind of weird Matt Damon Contagion movie feel in my head of like, we should leave.
Let's get out of here.
Yeah. So I think it was on the Wednesday or Thursday, like a week before. I was like, well, let's just go, and then worst case is we have to come up, and we've just been down for like a week, and we'll come back up to London.
Yeah.
But even when like packing things up, and we packed in kind of a bit of a rush, like the afternoon before we left, I even went to grab passports. Because in my head I just had this image of like, well, if we get to Kent, and then it gets even worse.
Yeah.
And then there's like, we have to leave. And I was like, how crap would it be that our passports are in London? Only 4-minute
makes
drive.
sense. Yeah.
So, there was definitely like, but I feel like, I mean, yeah, it was terrifying and no one was really giving any full answers. And people, I think, were holding back information probably to stop the panic in a way, but it felt more like, just tell us what's going on, just be honest with us. But I guess some people would maybe struggle more with that than others and would panic.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was that ambiguity to the whole thing, and you try and want to second and third guess everything.
Yeah.
For your own safety and family safety around you. But
yeah, I think that initial stage, because I just had this random memory of being in Tesco's.
Yeah.
And do you remember when like all the shelves were just empty?
Oh yeah, we had that. That was
empty.
Nuts. Yeah.
And I was like going around, and I remember just catching eyes with this guy.
Yeah.
And we just looked at each other and we were just like, what the hell? And there was just panic going around us. And then this woman started screaming at the top of her lungs.
Yeah.
Literally at the front of the shop, and it was like, okay, the world is actually ending. It was like a movie.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
Maybe like, that's probably, I don't know if that's attributed to the fact that we consume so much media nowadays. Everyone just has those instinctive reactions to things. And I just remember like the fruit and veg not being touched. Fresh fruit and veg.
Yes. Yeah.
Which was weird. And like, I'm plant-based anyway, so that's the section I'm going to go to. And I was like,
you were good.
I'm fine. Like, I could just grab all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we had like a few cans and stuff in the cupboard. And I was like, yeah, we've got some soups and some bean, you know, all those things. But I was like, but we should just keep buying the fresh stuff until that runs out.
Yeah.
And then we'll panic.
Yeah.
You know. But I just couldn't, I remember going down aisles and it just being empty and just weird. It was like you turned up on a Sunday evening before they'd restocked for the Monday or something.
Yeah.
Like, and just seeing people starting to get a bit arsey with each other. The toilet roll thing, like,
oh my God.
I saw some examples of that.
Yeah.
And I was so confused by just like
that was the thing, wasn't it?
Couldn't even like say anything to someone because I couldn't get it out of myself. Like I'd see someone in a shopping trolley with like 4 massive 48 packs of toilet roll, and you're like, what?
Why?
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I just didn't really understand that.
We did this. There's a company called, not that this is promoting them in any way, called Who Gives a Crap, and you buy like a bulk pack of 48, and it's made from recycled paper, and it's all boxes, and it's all very cool and eco-friendly. So we've been getting those because they do last you like half a year, surprisingly. So we'd not long had some of those. I remember sending my mum a picture and being like, "Oh, we've got them a toilet roll thing, Mum. Why have you done that?" And my cupboard, like, there's a section of our cupboard which is full of toilet roll because that's where we just keep it. And she genuinely thought I'd gone off and just.
She thought you were one of those people.
Yeah. Just don't commit that.
Oh. So let's talk about, now that you've spoken about your mum, let's talk about everything that happened with your dad when you were, did you say you were 15 or 16?
16 when it's, 16 when, I guess it's 16 when it started, well, when it started for us.
Okay.
Because I guess the cancer probably would have started, I don't know, maybe it would have started a while before, or maybe not.
They say that actually, I think.
Yeah.
It starts developing a lot sooner than you even imagined.
Yeah, it is kind of hard to gauge.
So you're sort of living with it and not realising it, and it's just slowly, obviously, deteriorates.
But. I was 16, I had just started sixth form college in Winchester. I grew up in Southampton, so it was all fairly close. And that year, so it wasn't a great year family-wise anyway. In January of that year, my nan had been diagnosed with a brain tumour in January, and then throughout the year she just very quickly deteriorated. And then in the start of the new term at college was when she passed away. That was very sort of quick and out of the blue, and was kind of, that was more like a plaster being ripped off really quickly, in a way. Like it just happened really quickly and it just happened. And so I don't know. That was very quick. And then a month later, my dad's dad, who'd been ill for probably get this wrong, but I think maybe like 8 years on and off with cancer and had bowel cancer and leukemia. And I'm guessing in my head that like within the last month of his life, I think he just he'd lost his wife and he just went done.
So it was a month apart?
Yeah, pretty much a month apart.
Oh my god.
Which was really, like a really quick deterioration, and he was someone who would try his absolute hardest not to let anything get to him. Like he was a real stubborn, short rugby playing Irish Catholic fella. I'm sure you guessed. We used to joke.
I know him already.
Yeah, we used to joke that he was like the godfather of the family.
Aww.
Like he would always sit. We'd have these big, family gatherings and stuff. My dad was one of 4. He was the oldest of 4. So there's lots of grandkids. There's 13 grandchildren.
I know that too.
Yeah, I'm the oldest out of all the grandchildren. My dad was the oldest out of his brothers and sisters. So we'd have these big get-togethers and we'd all be sitting at this big table. But it does you could probably play the Godfather music in the background while he was sat there telling everyone, your kid should be doing this at school and they should be happening. In fact, I remember when so my dad was a vet. 2 of my uncles are doctors, and my auntie worked in engineering. She was did physics and worked in engineering for a bit. So they're all very good, respectable jobs. And then when I was at college, I was doing physics, biology, maths, and art, because it was the start of the EAS courses, so you could pick loads of subjects and then you could drop them all halfway through. But I remember just veering more on the art side by then, and even that was a little bit controversial to be not going full sciences and stuff. And I think I had a bit of the devil in me of just going, I'm going to do more art then.
Yes!
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
maybe this is, maybe I shouldn't have done. But part of me, I feel like I just wanted to wind things up a bit and just like a teenager. Yeah. I don't think he was, I was still doing the sciences to an extent, so he probably would have been a little bit happy. He was probably a little bit of a, maybe he thought I'll be an architect, or my granddad was a civil engineer as well, so maybe he was thinking, the art will come in to help me with that or something. And I was thinking, I just want to do art, and laying on the floor all day. They're not thinking.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
You know, it's quite lazy.
But it is that pressure
like,
as well from, especially like the older generation. I think they have a different idea of
Completely, yeah. And like different
what we should be doing.
lifestyle and stuff, and
Yeah.
different expectations from their parents, and yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like in the last few years, maybe more so, that everyone is really challenging all the ideals of everything.
Yes.
That, you know, you grow up, you find someone, you fall in love with them, you go to college, you go to university, you get a degree, you get a job, you get married, you have kids,
Yeah.
and like every time you hit one of those, people are like, "Oh, you finished university, when are you going to get a job?" I don't know, just barely like scrape myself through university. Like,
Yeah.
kind of don't, like, I just want to not do that.
Yeah.
And then even when you get married and stuff, they're like, "Oh, when you have kids," and then you have a kid, and they're like, "When you get another kid," and you're like, just, everyone just like,
Yeah.
you know, we might not.
The expectations.
Yeah,
are,
yeah, yeah, completely.
Yeah.
Or anyone that, you know, unfortunately doesn't fit into that model as well, who wants to, you know, doesn't want to get married, doesn't want to have kids, doesn't want to go to university, doesn't want to do any of these things. You know, hopefully they don't get as much pressure as maybe they would have done a few years ago and
Yeah.
force themselves down those routes because of peer pressure.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry. So, this is what I do.
Absolutely fine.
Wait, no.
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine.
Yeah, so my grandfather passed away, and so that was like two fairly big funerals, fairly close together, and I kind of reconnected a little bit with my dad's Irish family, and like just, you know, the funerals were quite big, lots of people, lots of drinking. I got taught by some of my dad's uncles how to, you know, negotiate a free pint at the bar. Pint
Yeah, I know that one.
Yeah.
I already know that
You
one.
order 10, and then you had another 2, and then you actually, no, we don't want, you know, take one off, and put another one, and then there's like 4 pints left on the side that you're like, I don't want those.
It's
Take them
mad.
off your hands for 50p.
Yeah.
You know.
Irish
or
funerals
just,
are mad. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. It's almost like, it's weird, because it's almost like, it sounds terrible saying this, but it's, you have a great time.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of celebrating that person's life. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's horrific, the first part of the day, but then you just get into this, like, I'm gonna...
Yeah. But I think that's the good thing with
Right.
them, is that it is a good time.
Yeah.
Like, which is a better way to do it, as opposed to, well, I feel like it's a slightly better way to do it, because you want to have a good memory of that time.
Yeah.
In a way, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, to be, I don't know, it's tricky, it's not to like diminish people who have an awful time at a funeral, because that's their experience, but I found it better in a way to have a good time at a funeral.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. So yeah, your dad.
Oh yes, and then...
Sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, and then my dad was, then obviously under a lot of pressure, he was the oldest, he was the executor of the wills, so he had a lot of stuff to do with all of that. On top of that, he'd not long gone freelance, he was working as a consultant in pharmaceutical. But yeah, he had not long gone freelance in that area, so he had the pressures of that, and everything that he'd just gone through with his parents, and then...
That's a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
Both of your parents
Yeah.
in a month.
Yeah, yeah.
Honestly.
It's pretty full on. Like, yeah. I think more so for his mum as well. Like, I think Dad got on more with his mum than his dad. But yeah, and then around that time, there was a car accident with Dad. I remember I'd come back from college, and my two younger brothers were back from primary, secondary school. They would have been back from. Primary, secondary school. And then Mum was obviously home with us, and she got a phone call saying that Dad was in Southampton Hospital, and there'd been a car accident, and, you know, but he's in hospital, he's you know, okay. So we left my two younger brothers at home. I think my neighbours came in or something and checked up on them. We drove off, and then we went and met up with Dad at the hospital, who was just like, you know, like he'd seen a ghost or something, like completely just, yeah, had a car crash. He'd hit the central reservation, I think, on the M3, and then, but I don't think very fast, I'm not entirely sure, because because we didn't get too many details on it, and then come over to the other side, and you know. But the car, I don't think the car was completely written off or anything like that. It was, yeah. But yeah, he'd, you know, obviously been through a car crash, and so that was quite horrific and very scary for him. They then decided with what happened to his parents recently that they were going to go off and do some tests just to check that everything was all okay. Considering that his mum was still a brain tumour and his dad had also just died from cancer, let's just kind of check things. Yeah, and that he was. I just remember seeing him and seeing how like childlike he looked in his face. So to like see your parent looking terrified, like a kid's terrified, was weird because I hadn't seen my parents be like that before. And when you're growing up, I think you always see adults and parents as like they always know the answers. They always really know what's going on. Like so to see them do that, you're like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And you were so young as well.
Yeah, I was like 16.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean,
even now, I would feel that way.
Yeah.
Let alone being that age, honestly, I can't imagine that because you're a teenager. That's like the worst time in your life. Well, apart from now.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But going through adolescence, and
Yeah.
Awful.
No, definitely, and I mean, yeah. I don't know if it's worse for boys than girls going through adolescence. Like you're trying to be, yeah, I don't know, is it? Like you're trying to be a man and like trying to do all these like adult things all the time, and you're just a dweeb. Like just get over yourself. Like trying to get into pubs at 16 and trying to like make all these big adult decisions for myself all the time because like I could do it now and all this, and you're like, God, like someone should have kept me around here. But yeah, they've seen that, and then there was a really weird thing, like a Twilight Zone thing. Should I mention that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So there's this weird Twilight Zone thing, which
I just want to hear it again.
Yeah. Which to this day, like I'm fascinated, and I've even like looked it up of like trying to find an answer if there is some weird. I feel like there must be some scientific explanation of like maybe some chemical balance of something that happened when it happened to me and when it happened to Dad. Like there's got to be an answer for it, like the conditions or something. Do you know what I mean? But there's so much science out there. Like, of course, no one's written a paper on it yet. But maybe they have. I haven't found it. So Dad was saying when he was in hospital that his last few memories were being at his desk in the office, and then getting up and then being in the car and then waking up in the hospital. But one of the things he does remember was that when he was at the desk in the office, he just remembers cheese and laughing at cheese. And Mum at the time was just like, that's, a bit weird and stuff, whatever. And he was just, that was really confusing for him because he was like, why, what?
Yeah.
But, maybe you saw some cheese at lunch or something. Or did you have a weird dream and it's probably because you watched something on TV. Or like there's probably something that triggered it. But in my head, I was literally like, because I was like, that's the weirdest thing. It just flashed me back. So when I was in year 7 at secondary school, before we moved house shortly after this year, anyway, to be where we spent the majority of my teens. So we were in like a slightly smaller area, less kids from that area were going to my secondary school, so we were on a small bus with I think it was like 8 people on my bus, went to my school. A few of us in year 7 and then scattered through the other years, and there was like one kid in the year 11 who was quite sort of, grumpy 16-year-old teenager, didn't want to talk to anyone or anything. But I saw him as like, this guy was like, in my eyes, he was like 9 foot tall, like built like a brick shit house kind of fella.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's the guy we should be friends with, because I was at an all-boys school and, there's a lot of fights. And I was like, we could call this guy in.
Yeah.
He'd just smash everything. Great, wouldn't it? We'd have our big friend. And I'd always try to engage with him on the bus. He just totally wasn't interested, and I should have just left him alone. But I was just, new to something, wanted to make friends. Probably very annoying as well. And every time I'd kind of see him, I'd just say hello and stuff, and he would just ignore me. So there's one time where we were going through the corridors at school, and I had a friend with me from a class, and I was like, oh, that's the big guy from my bus, like we should make friends with him, like he can, be on me. And he was walking past and I said hello, and he ignored me, and he had this big thick winter scarf on, and I was like, nice scarf. thinking that would, get him chatting.
Yeah.
He carried on walking. And then later on that day, finished school, was at the bus stop. And next thing I hear from behind me was someone say, do you think the scarf's nice, or something like that. Scarf went around my neck, guy choked me. I fell down to the ground and passed out. But the next thing I remember was being in my bed at home, like middle of a sunny day, waking up laughing about cheese. And then as I came to, I was laughing about cheese. And I was like in hysterics laughing, just going, and people were like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, why? What's going on? Completely.
So from that moment,
Yeah.
when he put the scarf around you and choked you, and you passed out, your next memory was that?
Of being in my, but I wasn't actually in my bed, that's just what was going on in my head. Was that I thought I was in bed laughing about cheese. And then I came to at the bus stop and was still laughing about it.
Oh my god.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like vegan cheese or anything.
Oh my god, that's so, those things are weird. I mean, I haven't had definitely nothing like exactly like that, but that's probably why you're still like, what?
Yeah, I'm really
What
weirded
does
out
that
by it.
mean?
Yeah, like, and so I definitely more so now look out for, maybe not look out for, but like I pick up more on like weird connections between people.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's like highlighted them more to me and I've just picked them up more.
Yeah.
But yeah, when Dad said that as well in hospital, I was just like, whoa, a probability moment.
And did you say anything, or did you just keep it?
I didn't say anything to Mum at the time, and they knew that, like back in year 7 that had happened, and I told them about the cheese thing when that happened and stuff, and I think they probably just dismissed it and stuff. I did mention it later on to Dad, briefly, like a year or so later, I think, when everything was going on. And it was just like passing in conversation and stuff, so it wasn't like a proper sit down. Let's sit down and talk about the cheese, because it's weird. We need to know what's going on.
I need to have a chat.
Do we have superpowers? What's going on? Like, is this made? So it was kind of a flyaway conversation. Not much came from it.
Right.
But then I don't know whether or not. I mean, if this was a movie, it would be like Dad knew there was a big secret of like some superpower I had.
So did you talk to him at the end, sort of towards the end of his illness?
Oh, about cheese?
Yeah.
No. So Dad was ill for about 5 years.
Very weird.
But yeah, no, that was
so you
just
were
like
21?
21 when he passed away.
Okay.
Yeah.
5 years of...
Yeah, and like we definitely thought he was getting better at times.
Yeah.
He had surgery to have it removed. So I remember like this huge big scar across his head and having to shave all his hair off. I thought he looked pretty badass without all his hair and like this massive scar going on. He never let on of how self-conscious he was about things, but I'm guessing he must have been a little bit, certainly had that. You could sense that like his personality slightly changed afterwards, but I felt more that he was. I didn't know, my mum probably maybe experienced it more so than us because she was his partner, but I felt like he was trying to not let any big changes come in too much and trying to keep everything as normal and regular as possible. And
right.
whether for his own sake or our sake, maybe a bit of both. But and he was like cycling into work and stuff and was trying to carry on as normal. And I think it had disappeared, or had almost disappeared at one point. And then it came back, which was, obviously really shit.
Yeah.
Like the day, where was I? I think I'd come back from college or something. I remember being in the back room with him, and he was quite clearly really upset. And up until that point, the only response that I'd really seen about this whole thing was like, it's all going to be okay. Like, Dad's quite young, like, it's all going to be okay. So I remember seeing him put a hand on his shoulder and just being like, it's going to be fine, don't worry, like, we can get through this, and just seeing him get really upset. And I was like, no, come on. Like, we're doing really well with this, like, it'd be cool and stuff. I mean, he worked in pharmaceuticals, he knew what was going on probably, like, when I was a teenager, not knowing squid. But, so, and then it was, God, I want to say it was quite a quick deterioration. Probably like it was over a series of months anyway. In the last year, like I remember my 21st birthday, Dad was in we had a bed in the back room that he was being looked after in. My dad's auntie used to be a missionary, and she was a trained nurse and a nun, so she'd come over from Ireland to look after Dad. She was quite a force. Everything was just like, grabbing it. She's quite a small, frail-looking lady.
Yeah.
But definitely wouldn't be surprised if she kicked your ass.
Yeah.
Like she wouldn't, because she, God-fearing. No, but like she was so. I remember this one time, and it's such a petty thing to get wound up with her about. But I had like, she was ironing some stuff in our house, and I was like, no, it's fine, don't worry, I'll do it. No, I'll do it. Go away. And I was like, okay. And I had like this T-shirt with this really cool print thing on. And she ironed the bugger out of it. Basically, the print came all off in the iron. I mean, it's so annoying, but not being able to say anything.
Oh no!
But like that
That's fine.
She's, she was always doing a lovely, good, kind thing, but it would be with a heavy hand to make sure it was done properly.
Right.
I mean that T-shirt was, crisp and straight as anything, but with no more print.
Oh my god! So how long was she in your life?
She was with us for a few years.
Oh wow.
I think it was when Dad started deteriorating more so towards the end of the 5 years that she came over to help more, and we had some palliative care anyway, nurses staying overnight and helping us, so we managed to have quite a good care system going on.
Yeah.
My middle brother in the last year did go to university instead of home. My youngest brother Jimmy, he was still in secondary school, so he was still at home, and I was at university around the corner after a few kind of stumbles and failings with trying to get into university through many of my own faults of not kicking my own arse into gear and doing it properly. I don't even know if I wanted to go. I feel like that was more just, definitely during that period as well, I felt more like I have to go to university because I've got to carry on with the norm, and Dad would want me to go to university and stuff, and I'm sure he wouldn't have cared if I went or not, but like that feeling like I have to be responsible.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, no. So Say was my dad's auntie Say was around during that period as well, which is great. It was grand.
Would you say, with your grief, you found sort of laughter and humour to be like?
Oh, hugely.
Yeah.
Yeah, dark humour.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah.
So I worked in a restaurant when I was at university, and so Dad passed away in October, and it was coming up to Father's Day the next year, and I worked in the restaurant with one of my flatmates, and a lady that was working in the restaurant was saying, I think I had the weekend off or something, and I don't know what I was going to go off and do, probably just going to get drunk for the weekend because I was at uni, but this lady I was working with was saying, oh Will, are you and your dad going to come in for Father's Day on Sunday? And initially I was just like, she doesn't know, I'm not, I was like, oh no, probably not going to do that. She's like, why not? And my flatmate was next to me, and he was just like dying, going, oh God, she was like, why don't you come in and, we can get you a nice table and stuff, it'd be really nice treat and stuff. I think she was trying to encourage all the staff members to bring their dads in to, get bookings up and stuff. And I was like, no, it's fine, just let you get a staff discount and, you can have a really lovely day of it. And I was like, yeah, no, it's great, but no thanks. And she was push. And I just went, look, if I genuinely came in with my dad on Sunday, it would be so awkward for her. And just walked off. And my flatmate was like, you absolute fucker, why did you, she doesn't know. And I was like, yeah, but imagine if I just went and got Dad's ashes out of the ground and just we sat there and we had dinner.
Oh.
Where's your dad? Oh, he's just waiting for his main course. It's going to take him a while to get through it.
You honestly, I did exactly the same thing. Not initially, actually. I actually went through a period of pretending.
Yeah.
And just sort of fobbing the questions off so I wouldn't even face the same thing. Or not even humour, like I was on doing nothing.
Yeah.
But now I do tend to.
Yeah. It's
or
really
I go really awkward.
sometimes. Yeah.
Like one or the other.
Yeah.
But yeah, humour's huge.
Oh, it's such a relief to do.
I'm convinced it saved my life.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely.
You do need it.
Yeah.
And, it's getting the balance right with it as well. You can be dark with your humour without being offensive.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay, yeah. But would you say so when you are feeling like down or dark or like actually genuinely sort of, you know, in pain, or what would you generally go to?
In relation to Dad, or just in relation to anything?
Both really. Is it the same thing?
Yeah, I feel like it's different.
Okay.
In that, I don't know, like when Dad, so I've got a kid who's 2.5. When Dad passed away, and after losing my grandparents on his side, and not long after that, my mum's parents passed away, both of cancer as well. So it was a whole all of that going on. So going through that and seeing how practical my dad was, and you know, he was heavily into science, he was a vet, so I always kind of wanted to know how things worked and the ins and outs and stuff. So very much just had like a matter-of-fact attitude to stuff, that nothing will, in my head I was like, nothing will ever be as worse as that. Like, going through that, that's probably the most awful thing you can go through, losing a family member in whatever way, a close family member, and anything else kind of seems trivial and petty.
Yeah.
Not to say that I haven't gotten upset by trivial and petty stuff, but like I feel like I don't get as upset as maybe some other people might do about stuff. So it kind of over the years had this like feeling of invincibility, that I can't be touched by anything.
Yes.
Like nothing's ever going to be that terrible. I'm going to be fine with that. Then you have a kid, and that like force field's just gone, and you're like, fuck biscuits, like it's come back.
It's back. Yeah.
Like you live your whole life just feeling like maybe there's a bit of worry and trepidation to lots of things, and then something awful happens to you, and you're like, do you know what? I'm in a way there's like a freedom to it of like I'm invincible, nothing can ever hurt me again. And then you have a kid, and you're like, oh, it's come back, because you have to look after their life. So that's why it comes. I feel like that's why it comes back.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's weird learning curve of like, that's my child, and I see sometimes when I'm like we're together, I see elements of myself at that age there. Not quite as strongly as that. It's a weird lucid thing of, and then I see like elements of my dad and myself with him. But also I am me and he is him, so it's not like I do see Will in him and see Dad in me. Do you know, like?
Yeah.
So there's like, so there's times where I just get completely overwhelmed, and like I just can't talk when I'm next to him. Like my voice just cuts off and just stops, and my eyes well up a little bit, and I literally just need to take like a couple of breaths, a few seconds, and then it's gone. But it's because I think I'm really on the other side of things, reliving that parent-child relationship, which I've lost for so many years now. It's coming up to the 15th anniversary of my dad. So now I'm like reliving and going through it. I don't know if it would be different if it was my mum who passed away, not my dad, like, because it's like boy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's sexist, probably is, I'm sorry. But like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like there's the father, well yeah, it's mirroring the father-son relationship.
Absolutely, yeah.
And seeing that. Also I feel like you kind of, I don't know how true they are, but like you see more elements of your, like I see more elements of Dad in me when I'm doing stuff. Like hands-wise, I'll be like obviously using your hands for loads of stuff all the time, and I feel like they look quite like Dad's hands.
Oh God, yeah.
A lot of the time, which
I've
is
had that.
yeah,
actually.
and you just catch yourself off guard, like you're right, so you're like, oh God, okay, like I feel like we had similar thumbs and stuff, and arms, and just little things like that. Also, we've got the same noise we make when we get hit by something that's really painful and sharp. It's like a that would be the same noise my dad makes. So you'd hear him like stub his toe in another room or something.
Oh my God.
And I'll do that, and as painful as what that moment is, as painful as it would be to like stub my toe or something. In my head I'm like, oh, that's Dad's noise. I'm like, great, he's giving me that. Like,
thanks, Dad.
yeah. I definitely feel like I stop and do that. My dad and his brothers and sister they all play guitar a lot, like a lot, and we were all encouraged to play guitar when we were growing up. So I've got these memories of that, like, you know, he needed 3 basic chords and he could play anything off that kind of thing, very status quo kind of thing.
Do you play?
Do you know what, weirdly, since I've come to London, I've had guitars up here, but I haven't really played.
Right.
But I would always used to have a guitar in my bedroom and always used to sit there and just try and play bits and pieces. I always try and learn like how to play riffs or like tricky stuff. I never learned a full song, but my dad would sit there and try and play some.
Right.
But you go around to like my uncle and auntie's house and sometimes the guitar gets pulled out. And not quite
music,
but like there's a, you know, Kumbaya-esque kind of feel that sometimes happens.
Yeah.
People leave the room and do something else. And my partner's family are definitely not like that. They won't sit around playing guitar or anything. So I don't know whether or not there's been like a subconscious like message from that of like, don't do that well.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, like even playing that, like playing like 3 chords. If I go pick up a guitar and just play like 3 chords and mess around, I feel like I can hear like the essence of my dad.
Mm.
And he couldn't sing. Like he was probably quite open about that.
Right.
And I can't sing. So, you know, there's that. Thanks.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah.
So you are planning, because I know some people are not sure, but in terms of your son knowing your dad,
Yeah.
are you going to make that like a part of?
Yeah.
Sometimes
definitely.
there's like not denial, but it's let's just leave that out of.
Yeah. I know. I was talking to a friend about this recently. Who she has 2 kids, and her mum passed away. A good couple of years ago. Oh, there's a good crying story about her mum actually from me. Her mum passed away a good couple of years ago. She's got 2 kids now, and her kids. Her mum passed away after her wedding, and then she's had 2 kids, and we were talking about what's the best way to start introducing it, discussing it. You know, she said that sometimes she tells them that her mum's asleep. You know, those kind of things. And I said, well, and I think, I don't know if she does do this now or not, but in my eyes I was just thinking, I kind of just want to tell Harry from the get-go, so I don't want to put it off and then get to that awkward conversation when he's older, because that would be so much harder, because it's like, why haven't you told me for 6-7 years?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've got pictures of me and Dad around the house, anyway, and I just point him out, and down our stairs in our old flat we used to have photos all down the stairs, and as we'd go down I'd point to everyone out the family, and he would point to people and write, that's not such and such, that's our cousin, that's not auntie, and that's granddad, and that's grandpa, and that's grandma, and that's nanny. So it's good that we've got like different names for different sides.
Cheeky granddad.
Yeah, cheeky granddad. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I've just been having that conversation with him recently about like, you know, being dead or being alive. Partly also we've had to have that conversation with him, and that when we're out and about on the streets, like not running in front of cars. Right. It's quite important not to do.
Yeah.
And his thing is like, yeah, Carl, buff me, and I was like, no, you'll be dead. It was. Yeah, so starting to introduce that and stuff, and talking about being alive and being dead. I've been doing with him. So this morning he was saying like, you're alive, and I was like, I am. That's right. He was like, I'm not dead. And I'm like, no, you're not. Like, we'll keep it that way for a bit.
Right.
So,
okay, that's good.
But yeah, but then like I'm finding humour in that as well.
Yeah.
By doing it with him.
Yeah.
Which has made it easier. So I'm kind of glad that I have started trying to do it with him straight away. I mean, even when he was first born, I would show him pictures of Dad. And be like, this is your granddad.
Lovely.
Yeah.
He's like, he's part of it.
Yeah. Just so he understands. I mean, he's gonna, you know, everyone's got their own different experience and stuff. And I remember like primary school meeting a kid whose parents were divorcing. I didn't know what that was because I just thought, well, I was like, why would your parents break up and stuff? But I was not aware of those sort of things. It just wasn't spoken about at home. So I do want him to grow up and be aware that the life that he's got isn't exactly the same as everyone else's. Everyone's got different lives.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's good to kind of, and they're like sponges at that age. I think like your brain develops to like half its adult maturity by the time you're 5. So you like they
Yeah,
literally
now.
pick everything up. Like you just see them and like you'll sit down like let's have a talk now. I'm going to ask you a question. This question's about my cousins. And you're like, okay, cool, thanks for the heads up on the topic. He's like, where are they? But like he just sees that people have conversations and stuff. So you kind of they are like sponges. So it's good to kind of keep that going, and also like it doesn't make me fall into a routine of like forgetting about dad or anything like that, because I've got my own kid now. I don't want to do that. I want to keep dad part of everything that's going on.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. It's cool.
So in terms of like things that you used,
because
you said before about drinking.
Yeah.
Is that like your one thing that you kind of went to?
Yeah, I was at university, so yeah, there was loads of drinks and drugs and bits. Cheeky Nando's. Pre-Nando's. Chicken cottage or something to get your aroma feeling low. So when I was at college anyway, and being 16 and being in a college in a different city, and we weren't that far away from Southampton anyway, it's quite close, but I remember one of my friends, Chris, we would go to like a house party of someone we barely just met in like a class, and then be coming home in the afternoon the next day, and this is like when everyone just had like those Nokia burner phones. Which is what we all had. We all had burner phones.
Yes,
we used to think they were cool, but they were. They were cool. So and just having like 12p to send a text home or something. So I think like during that period anyway, during college, there was definitely testing and pushing my boundaries of what I could do and get up to and stuff. And there was quite a big drinks and drugs culture around that city at that time. Anyway, lots of house parties, lots of that stuff going on. Like when you see these like movies of like the Facebook party and it all goes horribly wrong or something like that. So I feel like someone was at one of the ones we were at and has written this, a short film that became whatever the film was and stuff. Because you watch those things, you're like, that's so weak compared to. Anyway. So there was years of that happening anyway, alongside my dad being ill, and I would be at a party, be drunk, or whatever, and just find sometimes I'd have to take myself away at the parties and have a moment with myself, because I just would get overwhelmed, because I guess I was just unstable at that point at the party, and just something would just trigger it off. And because we didn't really talk too much about everything that was going on, like we talked about the scientific side maybe of what was going on with my dad, but not an emotional thing really.
Right.
So I would just kind of lose it a little bit and just have to go off and take myself away for a bit. So when it came to when dad actually passed away, it was 2 weeks, I think, maybe, just over 2 weeks before I was back up at university. And I was sat in a sliding notice, because we used to go to that one all the time, because so we knew someone who worked there or something. And I was sat with my flatmate from uni, and he was really gobsmacked that I was back at uni so quickly. And I was like, well, I kind of need to get on and do things. Like, I can't be putting everything off. And then we just got smashed with it that night. And then, like, almost every other night was just going off and getting smashed. But, like, it just felt like it was like a normal thing to be doing. And it wouldn't be all the time, because I knew if I was really hungover I couldn't do anything and I would just go off and do something else. But it was like I completely switched off everything that just happened. I just went, I just need to go back into things on a bit more for a bit. And then I'd find myself sometimes when I was like drunk and intoxicated, just like losing it and having to take myself away from everyone, and I would just go off and like disappear from house parties and stuff. I'd just like disappear off. I would just
leave.
Just leave. Like one time I just started walking back to Southampton, which is quite a long walk, but I just was like, fuck everyone, fuck this. Like there was something that happened at a house party that was just like all trivial and a bit bullshitty, and I was like, whatever, I'm off. And I just started walking, and walking, and then I was just like, what a country road.
What am I doing?
Need to get home. It's like 4:30.
Oh my God.
Really tired. Got back. I stopped going to lectures and stuff because I just couldn't be bothered. Like everything seemed so trivial and pointless to me.
Yes.
I think I quit working at the restaurant I was at for a bit because there were issues with like the person who was managing it wasn't being very nice. There was like money disappearing, people were just being assholes there and stuff, and I was like, man, don't want to be involved in any of that. So I just slowly just started, like I was still going out and being really sociable with people and stuff, and that was what I enjoyed doing. So I was just like, I just want to do that then. Like I don't want to do any of the rest of it.
Yeah.
And at university I was studying film and psychology. The psychology aspects I really liked, but some of the film lecturers I had were so, how am I saying this? Some of them were so useless, like with inspiring you or trying to get you interested in everything. I just didn't bother turning up stuff, so I just thought I don't want to do any of those. So yeah, it was a good couple of years of just being like that. And yeah.
Just going back to what you were saying about when you feel overwhelmed, so is that the sort of thing that you tend to do when you feel that way, so you kind of take yourself away from
the
situation? Or have you ever expressed yourself in front of people, whether it's your family?
I do more so now actually, and it's happened at like the weirdest times as well, with people that sometimes I don't even barely know. I remember we'd gone to Twickenham for a final of the Premiership with my friend Chris and some of his mates, and I kind of half knew all of them, and then we went drinking for the whole day. We were going out around the area, and then we were just sat in this pub in the evening, and I was sat down, and I just we were chatting about something, and I just opened up to this guy about my dad, but I was so matter of fact about it. I was like, it's really harsh, this is what happens, this is how you feel, this is, this is all unfortunate, blah, blah, blah. And my friend Chris was sat next to me, and I just remember him looking at me like never heard me open up about anything. And I wasn't getting, I was a little bit emotional about it, but I was more just matter of fact again about everything, and just and I found I've done that with not just the topic of dad, but other topics as well now. I just sometimes I'm more inclined now just to open up about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so scared about doing that anymore now, and just being not too emotional about it, because I think when I would get if I did get like that with people, they wouldn't know how to help or do anything. And you see that look in their face, they're like, Will's crying, where do we put him? So being more matter of fact about it kind of gives them something a bit more tangible to hang on to when you're talking to them about it. Mm-hmm. And I feel a slight better feeling with release after doing it than if I was just to kind of lose the plot and just be bawling out everywhere. You've got spit coming out of your mouth and your eyes are running.
I think there's sort of, well for me anyway, there's a bit of guilt or something, because you're I don't want to ruin the party, or I don't want to ruin the people are in a great mood or whatever, and they're feeling like shit.
Yeah, no, totally. A friend of mine a couple of years ago, we were at his stag do, and his dad really wasn't well, and I was outside the back having a chat to a guy who I hadn't chatted to properly. This guy had been a real arsehole. A few days after my dad had died, everyone was on MSN Messenger back then, because it was the cool thing to do. And I went on, and this guy asked how I was, and I was like, I'm really changed up, and he was like, oh, just, get over it, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, cool. I mean, I feel shit because Dad's died. That's a great way. So I cut this guy out of my life, and we were chatting at the stag do, and he was like, he started crying. He's like, I'm really sorry, I betrayed you. And I was like, and in my head I was like, it's okay, man. You were a dick back then, but, and I've put that to bed, and I'm not, I don't worry, it doesn't keep me up at night and stuff. And he was slightly confused of how calm I was being about everything. Mm-hmm. And I was sat there with a jug of some cocktail, and I was like, here you go, man. I was like, you. And then that happened, and then the stag came out, and something had triggered him off about his dad, and he came out, and he was like, I don't want to be, getting emotional in front of those people because I feel really bad about it, but I know you've gone through it, and talk to you and stuff, and just was losing it. And I was like, yeah, it's fine, of course you can. You don't feel like you can't do it with everyone stuff. But he had the same sort of thought in his head of I don't want people sat around me feeling guilty that they have to be talking to me just because I'm going through this. Also, I guess you don't know if anyone else has been through something and it triggers them off or.
No. I think that's why it's so important to talk about it.
Yeah.
Whether it's with your hopefully if you have like, you know, just a support network, whether it's your family,
Yeah.
friends, or professional help, like,
Yeah.
it really does help
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't think you realise, and I think maybe if you are feeling awkward about in social situations, or you don't have people in your life that have been through it,
Yeah.
then at least if you're getting that professional help,
Yeah.
there's something.
Yeah.
Because you can't just live with it and not
Yeah,
do
yeah.
anything about it.
No, completely.
Because it's just really bad for you.
And not just talking to people. You can talk to other things.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
this was the sheep thing I was going to come on to. I was at my friend who was chatting to me about what to do with kids and stuff, and talking about her mum. When we were at her wedding, her mum was there, and her mum, shortly after the wedding, passed away. And when we were at the wedding, it kind of dawned on me that Dad will never be at a big event like this for me anymore, because he's gone. And it was in the evening of the wedding, and I was on, naturally, the most raucous table in the wedding. Like, I think we got a few complaints. Yeah, clearly living in that. No, it didn't. It was a lively wedding. So we were, quite heavily drinking and stuff, and I saw her mum outside of the venue, and I went over to go and say something to her, and went over and gave her a hug and stuff. And I couldn't get any words out, and I just got choked up straight away. And I was just, I kind of half said like, "Oh, it's really nice, like seeing you," like. And she was like, "Oh, no, it's nice seeing you," blah blah blah. Like a little bit of small chat stuff, and then I was like, "I can't do that, I can't do this, can't do this." So I took myself off, and they got married in this barn on this farm down in Kent. I took myself off, and I was like, I just need a minute to get away from everything. Like everyone's having a good time, I'm not going to put it on people. Went round the back, sat down, lost the plot, and I was like, oh, this feels good. Just getting it all out, getting it all out. It's like having a bottle of wine and cold kind of thing. Just like, get it all out.
Yes.
The sheep came over and just like perched next to me. And I was just thinking, seriously, if that's you,
Oh.
so, like, oh god, really? Like, I was like, I've all. My dad dealt more with pigs and poultry, so partly I was thinking, why haven't you come as a pig? I was just looking at the sheep, and it was really weird. Like, I've never been that close to the sheep probably before, and it was just, like next to me, just staring at me. So I was just like half chatting at it, half laughing, going, yeah, whatever. So this weird like. I was like, are you alright?
Oh
I guess you're alright. Are you? Like, kind of, I was like, I don't want to, like, seem like I've lost the plot and be chatting to a sheep. But if you're in there, are you okay? Things all good? Okay, cool. And
my god.
But then to top it off, this is the way the wedding was going. I came back around the side of the barn, and there'd been a scuffle, was a mild word for it, between two wedding guests. And people were running around. My partner came over and was like, where were you? There was this, fight between such and such and such and such. Like, people needed some help. I thought you were out here with them. And I was like, yeah, no, I've just been crying with the sheep. I think it's Dad. I'm not sure.
Oh.
She was like, what? And I was like, it's cool. I'm going to go and get another drink. Because
Oh my god, I love it.
So, yeah.
What was her reaction?
I didn't know. She was probably confused. I'm like, what are you? Like, with her? And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go and get another beer.
That's incredible though.
Yeah.
That sheep knew.
Yeah, yeah.
Animals like pick up on. Well,
They do,
slightly,
yeah, I feel like, they must be
Yeah.
having vibes and stuff.
Yeah.
That's why we shouldn't really
Absolutely.
hate them. But,
we can ask these questions.
sorry,
Let's move on. Okay, how has grief changed you?
I would say coming back to that invincible feeling that I had for so long, like it made everything to me feel very trivial and petty. So that was my main change in grief, with grief, I feel, just and wanting to just kind of get my head down and get on with things and try and just, like, enjoy things.
Yeah.
I quite often, if there was a load of noise and kerfuffle going on and stuff, I would try and mentally switch myself off and imagine I was at a beach with like seagulls and stuff going on. There was an episode in Scrubs where Dr. Cox is being talked to by the student doctors, and all you hear is like the sound of the sea, because he just can't deal with it. I remember seeing that and being like, that's a really good technique to like switch people off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so definitely switched off and became more carefree about minor things. Probably things I probably should have been switched on more with. Like, I'm really bad at admin stuff now because I just don't care for it.
Yeah.
You know, if there's some form that needs filling in or like something needs sorting or stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I do try and get on with these things now, but I feel like for so many years not caring about it, I just instinctively just don't pay any attention to those things.
Yeah.
And then you get, late notice and you're like, oh, okay.
Need to do it
Let's
now.
sort that out, yeah. So that would be my main, that I would say would be my main thing up until my son was born. And now it's like almost the complete opposite of how vulnerable everything is and how like that like the vast, like you kind of, I guess when someone dies anyway, you could be slightly open to how vast and infinite everything is and how petty and small things are and how we are literally just made up of like, there's a great moment in Bill and Ted where they're just they've gone back in time and they're trying to impress all these great thinkers about stuff and they're trying to coax themselves into believing that they're with them, and he just picks up dust and just drops it and he's like, oh, we are, it's like dust in the wind. But if you think a bit more profoundly about that, it's like, yeah, we are just tiny little particles and stuff, But now having a child just makes me feel really like concentrating more on like those connections you have with people more now. Like we are literally just like little particles and stuff flying through space, but I'm fortunate right now to have these people in my life and be connecting with that.
Absolutely.
Outside of that, anyone who's being annoying can go away.
Yeah, exactly. This is it. That's important.
Yeah.
Everything else is like.
But even that's weird, like that. I find a bit straight. Like I love it, and it's great, it's fantastic. But I do find it overwhelming and weird at times that knowing the physical side of everything, having that like more emotional, spiritual, and loving connection with people, it's like it's interesting that we have that, and I do like that. But I do also fascinated by it.
What's been your biggest lesson?
To open up and talk about it. Like it's taken me so long to get to that without even, and I didn't even know that I went on this journey to do it. I think typical me, I took too long to do something. But
oh, I know that.
Yeah.
I could win an award.
Yeah. Just procrastinate.
Oh my god, yeah.
But even on that, like you could easily say I wish someone came and helped me out back when it all happened, but everyone else has got every other thing going on, so you can't really put a responsibility on anyone. But now being more open and I think with the times at the moment as well, with hearing especially men, like high suicide rates in men because they're not opening up and talking about things, and hearing more about that recently. In my head, I was always like, oh, I feel like I'm fairly open about stuff, and then, oh wait, but I'm not really. Like, I need to talk more about things and engage more with people on things, and just being that matter of fact when you are talking about things is probably good for other people as well. Maybe it's like a ripple effect, hopefully.
Absolutely,
that other people feel that they can just start talking about everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing, is that should have opened up and talked more at the beginning. It probably would have helped a lot.
Yeah. Amazing. Although grief is a very personal experience, what advice would you give to anyone going through this?
It is. It's hugely personal, but I would not keep it to yourself. Even if you don't feel like there's a support network around you immediately with friends and family, like there's probably there are other options of reaching out for help and talking to people. There's support networks out there. There's charities that you can go and speak out to and stuff. Or if that's not your thing, just try and find you'll find someone who wants to talk about it. Or if you just try and open up a little bit more. It's a really hard thing to do because it's the last thing that you want to do. But it's almost like once you climb that wall, you can break down that wall a little bit every time you try and do it.
Absolutely.
It might be the most random person that you bump into, or you probably don't want to talk about it with your family because they're all going through it. Close friends to you, I found that like a lot of my close friends, we didn't really talk about it too much because we were, you know, in our teens enjoying everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Didn't want to taint the enjoyment for everyone else. I felt guilty about that, but you shouldn't feel guilty about things. But just finding, you know, there was a guy working at the restaurant when I was first at university, this guy John, and we kind of became a bit with Noel and I of like just going off and just like having these drunk afternoons, just going, you know, just. But he was a great guy. He was could be very black and white about things, which was good in a way, so I could just talk to him about stuff. And he would just give me like practical advice on things, and I would just feel a little bit better. I was talking about it. Then we just got fucking smashed. But like, but even during those moments, like, you know, he was someone who I felt better being absolutely hammered around, because he was a good rock to have, and I could still be just as sociable and do all those things that I was doing. But with someone who was just like, okay, well look, this is how you feel, we should, you know, have a look at this and that and that. Like really had his head screwed on tight. So I guess it's trying to find maybe just at least one person like that who can be a bit of a rock to you, not to be dependent on, but just to help you start climbing that first awkward wall.
Yeah. What would you say to yourself in the beginning stages of the grief?
I don't feel that there was anyone in my immediate network that I could have had as a bit of a rock back then, but I would go back and say, you know, take yourself away from some of these things that are going on that you're doing and try and look for someone that's a bit more of a rock and try and find someone to talk to a bit more, because you're going to need it, because it's going to start getting a bit more fucked up and you're not going to like it. And as much as you feel like you can get on and deal with it on your own, there's going to be a point where like you realise that you can't. So yeah, definitely try and give myself, again, I guess practical advice of how to do it, because like giving an emotional advice or something to myself, that definitely worked.
Yeah.
I just sort of ignored it. It's that weird guy with a beard. Why has he got a beard now? He's got glasses. I didn't think I'd be wearing glasses. Do I get blind? Yeah. I don't know. What's wrong with his shoes? But
yeah.
That's
great.
I think.
What's one of your favourite memories of your dad? Which I know it's the difficult question.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that. Because there's so many. There was always something happening in like a hilarious way. Whether we were at one party and it was a friend's 40th, and there was a family friend who ran a marquee company. They'd always had marquee up that they used for cleaning the other marquees in, and so that was up all year round. So you just go and sit in it, and we'd have like barbecues and stuff like that. And it was a friend's 40th, and one of the other dads in the group used to play for Southampton Football Club, but was retired, and Southampton were going to get relegated that year, and they didn't, they just made it through, so it was all big cause of separation and stuff. And I don't ever remember seeing my dad hammered, really. This is like the main one, which I thought was hilarious anyway. And he went over to the barbecue. They like the whole table was like, you remember those little French beer bottles? Like the little green ones, like that people used to buy. There was like a phase where like all parents used to just go through and like, no, might have been a Southampton thing. Yeah. Little tiny beer bottles, you buy like a crate of 40 of them or something.
Oh my god,
like
no.
So this whole table.
But I do know, my memory is.
Like you don't see them that much anymore now.
Right.
Probably a ton now. Whole table was just like full of them. It was like temporary bottles,
right,
but on the whole table. And some of the parents were just, you know, and all the kids would go off into the house and play in the house and, you know, coming out. And we were going over and seeing my dad get up off a chair to go to the barbecue, weaving a little bit, went to start cooking food, the barbecue was going out, wasn't working. Got some lighter fluid and just squirted it on, wasn't working. Turned around to say that it was not working and straight up behind him.
Oh my god.
So, yeah, memory-wise, it was, instead of it like always being specific, there was always something happening. Like you could always guarantee.
Did you make that noise? Sorry.
Well, yeah, actually, yeah, probably. I don't know if we did it at the time. I remember we were walking back after that party. I don't know what time it was. It was on a Sunday as well. This thing, and we were all at primary school the next day. I think maybe I was at secondary school, wasn't it? But I was walking in. Yeah, I would have been at secondary school. I was walking back, and he's holding onto my arm, literally down the road, and we're weaving in and out of the road at 2 a.m. There's no cars on. And this guy cycled past, and he was like, "It's your friend Daniel." And I was like, "What?" You know, it's the first time experiencing someone drunk. So it's your friend Daniel, you should catch up with him. He was trying to run and catch up with him and stuff.
Oh my god!
And I told him, I was like, it's not him. He was like, it is. And then someone else cycled past on the bike. And I was like, why are people cycling at 2 in the morning around here? That's Daniel, we should go and catch up with him. I was like, it's not him. Just watching this, you know. And then we, the next morning, woke up quite late. Because I think, the alarm's gone off, hit snooze, whatever. And didn't have that, parents would always be your second alarm coming in and kicking you out of bed because you were running late for the bus.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. Mum and Dad had then made a phone call into the schools saying that all 3 of us were quite ill and couldn't come in. Whilst the 2 of them were in bed, hungover.
Oh my god, that's hilarious!
They were coming downstairs and one of my brothers was just watching TV. And I was thinking, why haven't we gone to school? I was at 12, I should have gotten off my own backside and gone to school anyway, but I was like, what's going on?
That's so funny.
Didn't know that they'd made that phone call either.
When did you find out after?
Oh, years later.
Oh, yeah?
Like,
At the time, you were just like...
at the time we were just like,
why is
we're not going in.
Yeah.
It was a bit unsure why. But that would be my main general memory, is that there was always something, it's always like a bit of mischief or something happening. Always had a bit of the devil in it.
Love
like,
that.
in a good way.
Cheeky.
Yeah, definitely. Like always, and I definitely have that in me. I feel like I love doing it because Dad did it,
Yeah.
and that's why I want to keep doing things.
What was his name?
Bill.
Yeah.
That's a weird, From birth as well, baby Bill. There was used to make comments about how weird it was having a baby Bill, and I was like, and then that got stuck in my head. Like, why is it weird calling him a baby Bill? And like, I don't know.
I could talk forever.
Yeah, sorry, I literally
No,
can't
I genuinely could keep going.
Yeah.
It's mad. But thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you so much for doing
Thanks
this.
for having me.
I hope you got something from it. And
Yeah,
basically,
definitely.
this is exactly
Yeah.
why I'm doing it. Because I just feel like hopefully it just helps to kind of,
Yeah.
talk about it and
Yeah.
just get out there.
No, it's good to chat, ramble on too much. I hope people get through this whole episode.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you.